In this video section here, we're going to finish up the taskbar, and we're going to essentially talk about File Explorer here, and also the application store as well. So if we go and click on the File Explorer here, we will see a couple of sections here. We'll see Quick Access, we'll see OneDrive, and we'll also see this PC as well. This PC is essentially your computer. It's going to be your computer, and you'll also see any drives associated with your computer. But anyway, let's just start from the top bottom here. So Quick Access is basically your more often used folders in your Windows environment. You'll have your desktop here. You'll also probably have like your downloads, or you do have your downloads, but you also have like your pictures and your music. More than likely up here as well by default, but actually unpinned like pictures and music from here, and I've added a couple of other ones. These have actually gotten here from us just using those folders, and if you use a folder more often, it'll actually show up here under Quick Access, because Windows can tell that you actually use those folders more than others. That being said, if you do want to just manually pin a folder, you can definitely do that. Like if I wanted to do my Webinaria folder, that's how I'm actually doing this recording, I could go and actually do this here. So like in, for instance, or let's say I just do the Windows 10 class or AAA here, I could right click and pin to Quick Access, although it's honestly there because I've been accessing it a lot. So that's a way you can actually pin one of these folders. So Quick Access can be definitely helpful. OneDrive down here, this is the Windows cloud service, more or less, or online storage, and that's essentially what cloud or what OneDrive is just that's basically what cloud service is, just online storage made available to an end user in one way, shape, or form. So here we have OneDrive. You have to actually have a Microsoft account like Hotmail for OneDrive. Once you log into OneDrive, what you'll actually see by default is just this PDF, and this PDF is actually a pretty informative PDF that talks about how OneDrive works and how you can share out documents from OneDrive, so it's definitely worth a good read. I would say a really practical way of using OneDrive is actually going and using your Edge browser here. For instance, here's an example. If I go back to that National Geographic article that I actually saved, I believe I saved it on the desktop here. Here we go. So what I could actually do, let's say I wanted to read this on my Kindle or on a tablet, I could actually copy this over to my OneDrive, paste it here, and there should be a OneDrive app available on most tablet types. I think like the Kindle Fire would probably have one to where you could actually access the OneDrive from like an ebook device like Amazon Fire or Kindle Fire, I should say, and you could read that PDF on that Kindle. So that's a great example of how you can use OneDrive. So it's basically online storage to where you can really access your store from anywhere, and you don't have to be on your desktop to access these files. You can also share out these documents as well from OneDrive and send those links to your friends. We're going to go ahead and talk about our general file system, and I think this is very important. So we have our actual drive here. This is our USB drive. This is our attachable drive. And back here we have our actual C drive. This is where Windows is installed itself. And you'll see that little Windows icon on the drive. That's what it's basically specifying. So this is the window, or this is where Windows is actually installed, and this really has your desktop and all these other files. All of your files are actually under this user folder under your specific login. For our login, it's our FWI here. Like you'll see my desktop right here. One really cool thing about Windows. File Explorer here is you actually have a new share option here. So if I go click on test and hit share, I can actually email one of my files to somebody in my email group. You could also Twitter it if you had Twitter here. Or there's other social media applications you could download and install as well that you could use with this share function. So if you are planning on emailing like one of these items, what you would actually need to do as well, though, is you'd need to link up your email account right up here. If that's if you are wanting to use that feature, that share feature within File Explorer, you're going to need to link up a mail account to the Microsoft Mail app. So back to PC here. Oh, one other very helpful feature here as well is if you're trying to look for a certain file, like let's say I'm looking for my Windows 10 files, I can actually type right up here in the search box, like on a certain drive or folder, and I can actually find my individual files I'm looking for, as long as I know how the file name begins. Like for instance, let's say I want to look at one of my Windows 10 videos. I can do Windows 10 because I knew it started off like that, and of course if I spell it right, Windows 10, this may be a bad Windows 10 taskbar. There we go. So I know I made a video that's had Windows 10 taskbar on it, and there for a second. Sometimes it takes a little while for it to actually run the search, but I can actually find this file that was my previous video. And it's right up here in this top right-hand corner of File Explorer. This is where you can actually search for files. And it's already found it, but it's just kind of checking all the other locations here real quick before it's done running its search. Let me think here. May do another example here. I'll do my parking lot. I think that may be a little bit easier. I think Windows may have been a little hard since there's so many files. So I'm going to do my parking. And this should come up a lot quicker. There we go. So that was a lot better of an example. So I knew I had a my parking lot document somewhere, and I actually was able to find it in this fashion. Windows probably wasn't the best example since there's so many Windows files that may have something to do with Windows on this OS here. But let's say I want to look at for walkthrough. I know I have a walkthrough document through here. It's the document that I handed out. I can look for walkthrough, and there we go. See, it's every example of where I have the walkthrough at. So definitely a very helpful feature here. That being said, I think we've covered the Explorer folder pretty well. Let's go ahead and turn our attention to the App Store right here. And so the App Store, the question was asked, like, why use this App Store? What's the benefit of it? And to be honest, it's a lot easier to install a lot of these utilities. Like if I wanted VLC for Windows, I can definitely go and grab it here. And most of these files or these applications are definitely free. You'll also see like ratings and reviews here, so you can see how highly rated these applications are. And to be honest, it's a little bit more secure to use the App Store. Microsoft does a pretty good job about keeping up with things and making sure that all the apps are indeed safe and they're not a scam. Up here, so you'll see my account settings up here, and account settings can be important. You don't have to have an account, but it's recommended to have an account, and to be able to make a Microsoft account, like a Hotmail account. That's how I'm tied to it. This little download function basically just means there's a software application currently installing, and we'll see that right here in the queue. You can also check for updates as well, and that may actually be a pretty cool feature as well. Maybe you'll actually check for your application updates. Don't see anything here. So going back, which this is all pretty new, so there's probably no applications that need to be updated. Like I was saying, really, this is pretty secure as far as you shouldn't have to worry about too many the bad software programs or like virus software programs actually being in this App Store, since it's monitored by Windows. But it's probably a good idea to go ahead and just check the ratings. Also see if the app is used often. If the app has like 17,000 ratings like this one does, chances are it's probably a pretty legitimate app, or that many people would have installed it. Now if it had like 50 downloads, I'd be a little bit more weary about that. That would seem a little bit more sketchy. Also, too, you'll see additional information down here as far as the app goes, so you can see who it's published by. If it seems like a legitimate source, like Weather Channel, then I think that would be another good sign that this software program should be just fine. This is a very easy way to install a lot of applications like Netflix. Really, the sky's the limit. I think the hardest thing is just try to find all these different types of apps that can possibly be on here. Some of these categories are definitely helpful. So if you're looking for a game, or let's say we're actually looking for maybe a navigation app, we can go here and see what they actually have for us and how much it costs. So if you do have an account, one of the benefits of having an account is if you ever had to switch laptops or desktops or mobile devices, as long as you have your account, if you actually go and buy like any games or music here, the account associated with your email address should actually this account here should actually keep everything that you purchase, so you would never fully lose it. And even in a situation where maybe you had to go and get another laptop, all your information should be just fine as far as what you bought in your library, as long as you remember what your login is. And your library will also show like new or free utilities as well that you've quote unquote purchased. Like even though you purchase a free app, you're not really spending any money on it. So I think that should do it as far as the apps go. And I think that should actually go as far as the general Windows overview. I hope everyone enjoyed this, and have a great day.